What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nick and this is Full Throttle Cars. In today's video I'm going to be going over 5 reasons why you should consider buying a 2007 to 2008 Acura TL Type S. And before we jump into the video, I just want to ask, if you are new to this channel, a lot of our viewers are new to the channel. This is their first video they've ever watched. But if you are new, please do consider subscribing and help us hit 2,000 subscribers. But with that said, let's jump right into the video. Alright guys, so the very first thing I want to talk about is the value you get when you purchase a 2007 to 2008 Acura TL Type S. So this is not going to be like all these awesome features you get for the money, but more so how well your car will retain its value over the period of your ownership. I purchased mine about 2 years ago now with around 80,000 miles. I've put about 15,000 miles on it now. We're sitting just under 100,000 miles, and I could still sell my car today for just about what I paid for it 2 years ago with putting 15,000 miles on it. My car is the 2008 in carbon bronze pearl with an automatic transmission. You can find these in manuals, which are even more rare. They are actually a lot more rare than the automatics, and they tend to hold their value better, and they may even appreciate over the period of your ownership. I don't know, but they definitely have that ability, becoming more rare today with fewer and fewer cars, even fewer sports cars that are coming with manual transmissions. Just one example of how these manual cars hold their value and may even be going up in value. There was a really low mileage example of a Kinetic Blue TL Type S with the manual that sold on Cars and Bids recently. I believe it might have been over the summer. I'll see if I can find the listing for that and put it up on the screen. But it sold for, I believe, over $20,000. I believe it was really low miles though, like 40 to 50,000 miles. But that just shows you the desirability of these cars. Alright guys, so the second thing I want to talk about is the performance you get with this car. So going right under the hood here, we've got a 3.5 liter VTEC V6 engine putting out 286 horsepower and 256 pound-feet of torque. This is good for a 0 to 60 time in right around 6 seconds, which for the time puts it right up there with its competitors from Infiniti and BMW. Moving to the side, we've also got some very nice 4-piston Brembo brakes up front. You know that this is a sportier car when you see those little things, such as the sporty performance Brembo brakes up front. And this is a bigger engine than comes on the standard TL. Standard TL came with a 3.2 liter V6, which I believe was around 250 horsepower for the 2007 and 8 model years. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to talk about is the reliability. Acura, as you may know, is Honda's luxury or performance sporty brand. So a lot of these same parts in the TL are shared with other Hondas from their lineup from the era. So parts aren't going to be that expensive, and reliability has always been something Honda has been known for. So this should be, for the most part, a fairly reliable car. And even if something is going to break, most likely it's not going to cost you that much money. If you are cross-shopping this with something with similar miles from one of the German manufacturers, maybe a BMW 3 Series or a C-Class Mercedes from the same era, I would definitely recommend the TL over those, because with this car you get very similar performance to something like a 335i from BMW, but with a lot better reliability and a lot cheaper maintenance. So that is a big reason why I would go with this TL over something from a German competitor. Now there is also the Infiniti G37 or G35 from the same era that you can get in the sedan or a coupe variant with, again, very similar numbers. They might even be a little bit quicker than the TL in a straight line 0 to 60. But in my personal opinion, I think the TL is better looking and has a nicer interior. So the Infiniti, also being a Japanese car brand, the luxury sporty performance brand of Nissan, will probably have better reliability than those German manufacturers. But I don't know how it would stack up against the Acura and Honda. Honda and Toyota are the two brands that you'd think of when it comes to reliability. So that was a big reason that I purchased the Acura over the G37, because I was thinking about a G37 as well, but I just figured with the Acura it will most likely be more reliable. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to talk about is the value you get, more so what you get for the money when you are purchasing one of these cars. So we already talked a little bit about the performance of this car with the 3.5 liter V6 engine, almost 300 horsepower. But when you think about it, in this $10,000 price area, you could get something like a 5 or 6 year old Honda Civic or a Toyota Camry that will be really reliable and is really your average normal commuter car, if that's what you are looking for and that's what you need. But I would recommend that you take a look at the TL Type S instead, if you are someone who wants a fun car but also needs to have that daily commuter type reliability and comfort. This is going to be a lot nicer of an interior than you'd get on a Camry or a Civic or a few-year-old Accord as well. It's got nice heated leather seats, metal trim, carbon fiber looking trim, leather wrap on the doors here, and soft touch plastic here. It is a very nice place to spend your time, and it's going to have very good reliability, as we've already covered. Maybe not as good as a 5-year-old Civic, Accord, or Camry, but what you get instead is the enjoyable driving experience. So this is such a fun car to drive, especially if you're driving it every day. You can just drive it like a normal car, or you can knock it over into manual mode and shift through with the paddle shifters. It's got a really awesome sounding exhaust, just normal straight from the factory exhaust. Mine has no modifications. I'll put up some acceleration clips right here that you can see. So as you can see, this is a really fun and enjoyable car to drive. So if you are considering maybe going with something like this instead of just getting your normal everyday commuter car, then I would highly recommend leaning this way. Alright guys, so we moved here into the garage for the final thing I want to talk about, which is the styling of this car. I'm going to do some exterior walk around shots. It is extremely windy outside, so that was really going to mess with the audio, so I came in here instead. It's a little bit darker in here, so hopefully you guys can see it alright. But for the final thing, the styling of the exterior, it is really cool looking and aggressive and sporty looking without being really overstated. Without looking at the wheels, you really can't tell that much of a difference between this and the base TL from the era. I am a big fan of how the TL in general looks from this era, but the Type S especially is one of my favorite cars Acura has ever made, from both a performance and a design standpoint. Right up there with the first gen and second gen NSX. I think these three cars are my favorite three Acuras, and definitely the three best from a styling standpoint. So coming over here, you can see we've got some different wheels than the stock TL. These do come standard on the Type S. Really cool looking design. Again, you can see the Brembo brakes right back in there, but that's not as noticeable as the wheels when you're driving along. That is one thing that differentiates this from the stock base TL. Coming back here, we've also got quad exhaust in the back, which is different from the base TL, but also standard on the Type S. Really, apart from that, and a little bit of a difference in the tail lights and side reflectors, the tail lights on the Type S are a little bit darker and not all red like on the base TL. So to wrap things up here on the exterior of the car, it is a very almost grown up look to it, a very understated, not as much showing its performance capabilities from an exterior standpoint compared to the standard TL, as other car manufacturers do, especially nowadays with a whole lot of manufacturers putting big wings and stuff on their performance cars, or fake vents. This does not have any fake vents, no big wings, just a little spoiler there in the back, which does add nicely to the look of the car. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to go down, drop a like, and subscribe. Help us to hit 2,000 subscribers, and we'll see you in the next video.